Okie dokie. All right. So I believe we are live. So Amalia and Madeleine here, bringing you the cosmic chat for this upcoming eclipse, new moon in Scorpio on October 25th, which is Tuesday at 6:49 a.m. Eastern, which would be 3:49 a.m. Pacific, I believe. Yes. Yeah, I'm going the right way. Yep. So Madeleine, somewhere around there. So Madeleine and I were talking just a little bit ago about this Scorpio new moon and eclipse, and holy scamoly. It's so huge on so many levels. I've talked to so many people recently who have asked me, like, what the heck is coming up? Like, what's going on? I'm feeling all of this. It's not like chaos necessarily, but like this like turmoil, like almost like white water. There's just a lot of like churning and things that are happening. And I guess that would make sense with Scorpio being the planet here that we're talking about. So one aspect that I know for me that I lean into when things are tough is flower essences. And I'm going to bring that into the story today. A little bit later, we're going to talk about some flower essences that might be super comforting and helpful. I drew a card for this reading as well, but I'll share that when the opportunity arises. But for now, I wanted to give Madeleine a chance to give us the overarching themes for this new moon eclipse, and just to also highlight for people that a new moon is a time of new beginnings. With the eclipse energy as being part of the story, it's a new beginning that's setting the stage for the next 6 months and beyond. So while this new moon is super intense in its new moonness, the eclipse energy adds a little bit more complexity and flavor to it that Madeleine's going to be sharing with us right now. So Madeleine.
Here we go.
I know. I'm like, I don't even know what to say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're in it. You're in that white water. Totally. I am to some degree. Yes, I am too as well in certain spots of my chart where you just don't know what's happening right now. It's like you're literally going, okay, where is all this heading? You know, where do I make plans? In fact, the eclipse season is not a great time to really make plans. It's a good time to just sort of see what's brewing. And whatever is happening on this eclipse, which really is only happening to you if you have planets that are aspecting, that are fixed signs in the lower degrees, but also in the mid degrees, because we've got a coming up eclipse in November 8th that is very much a part of this eclipse. These are very karmic eclipses. We're going to go into that in a minute.
So Madeline, let me just mention one thing really quickly too for folks who are listening. So when we're talking fixed signs, we're talking about, I mean, Scorpio obviously is part of the mix, but also we're talking about Leo, we're talking about Aquarius, and we're talking, who am I forgetting?
Taurus, Leo, Taurus. Yep, the fixed. Yep.
So for those of you who have your sun, moon, or ascendant in any of those, you definitely want to stick around and pay attention when Madeleine gets to that forecast, because you're going to feel it. Scorpio might be a bit of a mixed bag, but the other three are definitely going to be feeling some changes and
yes,
calibrating, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, really what we're doing is, this is the karma clearing. This is the point in your evolution as a soul where you discover if you've done the work or not, as far as purification, because Scorpio, the nodes, the south node is in Scorpio, the north node is in Taurus. We have Uranus up there in Taurus. So we're making radical shifts and changes. We're raising vibrations. The Uranus is the 11th house, which is a higher vibrational frequency. We're moving into a new cycle, which is very high vibrational. We're really clearing off old, lower density, fear-based attachment processing. We're going to talk about this because this is what this is really about. Clearing the karma is about letting go of the trauma, drama story that repeats, that's stuck energetically in the psyche as from trauma from past life or early life. So so usually that creates a reverberation of that energy of that trauma in your psyche energy field. And so Scorpio is about going deep down into that psyche energy field, dealing with the psyche, and which means facing fears, facing deep karma it's the energy of not hiding it, of not, of it being coming up to the surface so that it can be transformed into the light version of it. So hope I'm tracking.
Yeah.
So this eclipse is the response from the last eclipse, which was in May 15th, May 16th, which was a Scorpio eclipse. Try and remember the degree. I don't recall the degree, but that eclipse would have triggered you really bad. Whatever addiction or attachment issues you have, and it's going to be around finances, relationships, security, because that's the Taurus Scorpio axis. Scorpio is about risk taking, total devotion, total trust in an unseen force is there to protect and provide. And then Taurus is like almost the opposite, which is to create as much material security as you possibly can. And there's this sort of, I want to say balance, or shall we say a polarity there that is seeking expression, finding that center. So so the Scorpio eclipses is revealing the fear-based attachment to the material that is holding you back. That's stopping you from progressing forward. Now, this is karmic, deep soul stuff. We have Pluto in the mix. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, but also Mercury is trining Pluto during the, actually, sorry, I take that back. Mercury is squaring Pluto. I'm not sure where Mercury is going to be. I don't have the chart up right now, but anyway, point being that the energy that whatever plays out for you in this eclipse is literally a mirror reflection of where you are on your journey karmically. So if you've done the spiritual work, which is you've quit the addiction or the metaphor, so like sugar could be an addiction, a relationship is an addiction, a person can be an obsessive, because Scorpio is the obsessive energy. So somewhere around the last March 15th, 16th in there, I'm sorry, May. Yeah. It would have revealed to you the idiocy or the mistake or the off kilter, way off kilter, this fear-based choice is throwing you. And so now you're going, did you write that wrong? Are you going, now the eclipses are really hard and tough because you can't lie during a Scorpio eclipse to yourself. Scorpio is the deep, honest truth. And the eclipses are here to stop us from being on the wrong path because it's forced, like what's going on in your eclipse. If you're going to have squares during this eclipse, you are forced change. I actually, luckily, do not have, I have some really nice trines. A lot of people have really nice trines. It's trining my ascendant, trining my moon, and trining my sun. So this is going to be excellent for me. And I do know that I did a lot of good work on this because I understood it, because when I saw that eclipse, as you know, I've been studying karma because I find our freedom is understanding our karma. And that has freed me. So I feel like this eclipse is going to be very beneficial for me. So the Taurus eclipse that is subsequent, when we were in fear-based choice, and it's deep, it's almost not even clear sometimes. Like I had made choices that I think are best for me, but really they were in relationship to another person, or they're still making choices in relationship to a situation that you have a processing around. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I do in my sessions lately. I've been trying to help people get out of the trauma, drama processing story, which is that this is still happening. The trauma is still happening. No, it's not still happening. You're just reverberating and creating that story and anticipating it happening. But really you're just aware of the reverberation of that trauma still in your energy field. What you have to do is shift the story. Quit the trauma story, say instead, create a new story, which I am now clearing the drama of the past and reprocessing now to a new beginning. This trauma is now released in my life, and you do the deeper scorpionic energy healing work around the trauma, which is the trauma is no longer real. It's no longer here. I've released that in my energy psyche field. So you want to work on that during this new moon for sure.
So I think this is a great time to bring in the flowers, because
Yes.
it feels like this would be such a supportive piece to this transformational karmic clearing puzzle. And so there was a card I asked for that would be the most, the flower card that I asked for to be the most supportive for folks right now. And it was the navel orange blossom.
Nice.
And this activates warmth and the message, it's good to be alive. And I feel like in this time that may feel very heavy for some people and may feel very disorienting, and like living is not, I mean, I don't want to be dramatic, talk about drama, but like being here is hard right now because you're being forced to look at things. This is such a beautiful complement to that. There were 2 elixirs also, and I'll link these at the description after we complete today. But there's one called Open Heart, which I think is so beautiful. It's a flower elixir. You just put 5 drops under your tongue 5 times a day, and it's very gentle. I use this one pretty regularly, but I love this because with everything that's coming up, opening our hearts to love and opening our heart to this process can be really beneficial. And the second one is truth teller, and Madeleine, you were talking before about some of the squares in particular and being forced to see things. Truth teller is a really gentle way to allow yourself to open enough to access the truth, and open heart really kind of softens all of it. So those calling that, using those elixirs, calling in the orange blossom, even with oils with the scent of citrus and orange, can be really calming and soothing while energizing at the same time. So there are things that we can do, to help.
Yes,
I mean, I'm going to be all over my elixirs, and there's some mists that you can use that are really beneficial to help with this process.
Yes, this is an eclipse where you really do want to help your energy, frequency, and ground and stay out of fear. Scorpio is the fear thing. It can be. So these are earth, or what I call bone rattling fears of your survival. So these issues come up. This is what pushed you into karmic behavior, to cause karmic, to seek security. That would have thrown you out of alignment to what is divinely intended for you. If you can have the patience to wait for what divine wants for you in your life, you don't create karma. And that's really hard for people. It's really hard. Yeah. People want to go into a negative male energy, which is to create security, making choices that are not necessarily your divine path. So these eclipses knock you off those out of aligned choices and put you back onto your true noded fated path, which is the nodes, which is why the nodes are involved in eclipses. And so you're going to face the choices you made. This was the choices you made from lack of God in your psyche. So now you're discovering a part of your psyche that lacks God. Now you become aware of it. You now introduce God to that psyche, that Scorpio, to that depth. It now is no longer a fear in your psyche field. You've overcome it. And then you've upgraded now to the next level of fears that you're going to have to learn about. That'll rattle your bones just as much. But the point is you become aware of your power. Now, that's the other thing about Pluto and Scorpio and Mars, because Mars is the ruler of Scorpio as well. But Mars, luckily, is not negatively aspecting in this general chart, but in some people's personal charts, it's certainly showing up. But the overall energy is the power struggle of the, shall we say, the soul and the material world. And can you step into your soul's, can you confidently step into your soul and not stay more confidently? In other words, there's like a bridge, a leap of faith you take, or a bridge you cross. That means I'm trusting in the universe. I'm devoting now to this, and I'm trusting, and I'm going forward with that. A lot of celebrity charts, because I study a lot of celebrity charts, they have Scorpio North nodes and MCs because they break through a fear, and then it's kind of like you break through that. You get to that oh fuck it state, like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's that thing, that Laird Hamilton story where he's at the bottom of the ocean going, that's it. And then he pops up and you're like, I'm alive. It's the people.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah. So you discover that you have the power to live, that you discover that where you didn't know you had power, you now have power, and you can now create abundance with that new level of awareness about yourself, as it were, a new awareness that you are holding yourself back from that fear because it's not real. You're just playing out your fear by making karmic choices, by the trauma drama story you're telling. So then you go make that choice because you're telling yourself a fearful based story. So now these eclipses come along and go, sorry, those were all fear-based, out of alignment choices that were more you thinking you're the only, that you don't have God in your life. So that's why people are afraid of eclipses, or they're scary. So the best thing is to know that whatever goes as eclipse means something goes out. It's a purifying, it's a shall we say, it's like the void comes in when the sun and the moon do not go outside on an eclipse, not good. But it's when the light is void from the moon, there's a reset. So you're clearing, you're restarting, you're letting go of something that isn't good for you. So whatever is, your survival is assured in a Scorpio Taurus eclipse. It may not seem so, but you'll discover that it is. And that's when you make that transformation from fear-based to faith-based, because you suddenly realize your fear-based choice did not sustain you, and it did not work. It was not going to keep you in the intention of the point of the choice, so shall we say. And now you're dealing with the karmic repercussions of that choice. That comes up as crisis, but on the other side of that crisis is the purification, which is what Scorpio is about. It's that purifying. And so you're releasing that lesson, and now you are above it. And so that is why eclipses are so challenging. And you can get fired because that job is fear-based, toxic for you. You can end a relationship. It's a toxic basic. It's cutting, it's Mars, cutting, ending. But also, if you've done the work and you've cleared your karma from that last triggering, from the last eclipse, you now get the reward. So we'll go through all the 12 houses and we'll see where everybody is going to have something go and something new come in. And we are going somewhere with all of this. It's like, it's not just to create hell in your life and maybe make it better for a while. I mean, you really are, these are the nodes. This is about your trajectory. This is about your fated karmic a purpose of being. So these are fascinating shifts and changes if you embrace them, like I'm doing. I'm like sitting here watching like it's a football game. And the eclipses are like the shall we say the end of the finale, the final game. What is the result of all that I've done all year during this, how am I going, what are the fruits of the labor, as it were, from the soul work. And there is some, I know a lot of astrologers out there who are very much my teachers, who know way more than I do, who say there's like, instability in the finances and things could go crazy, but I'm not getting that from my readings, and I'm not getting that from most of the stuff that I'm studying, because I, do all this deep diving into it. I think we're going somewhere really auspicious. I think we're transforming into some really good times. And I keep seeing that in everybody's readings, because we're on a trajectory. The Scorpio Taurus trajectory is all about money. It's finances, it's abundance. It's about breaking through the fear that's stopping you from being more abundant. So in my opinion, this karma clearing, and I'm seeing it everybody, even in people that are not spiritual or not into my stuff or into this stuff, they're like, I can see they're clearing layers of karma, and things are opening up in their lives, and their lives are getting better. So I think I think there is a death and transformational going on in the finance world for our better. I think it's going to help the people better. I think it's going to be better for us. I'm going to take that risk and leap and say so. I think we're coming into very abundant energies.
I feel you're something with that, Madeleine, because there is definitely a shift and a change that's taking place, and you see it in the astrology, and you also see it in the external world too.
Yeah.
You know, you can see that. However, I do feel you're onto something when you talk about it being, it's almost like we're clearing out some of the icky sticky of the money from before, and it's aligned more with the goodness and the giving and the
Yes.
generosity and the heart. But it takes a little while, and it can be a little uncomfortable in that transitional process.
Yep, I'm going through this with my ex-husband right now. We're literally to forced karma clearing with our finances, and relationships. Scorpio is the 8th house, which usually indicates finances involved with other people's money. So I'm literally clearing out some old tax problems he had. And I'm like, I can't believe it. It's just like, it's all showing up right now out of the blue, totally out of my control. Like, and so it's just crazy. It's like, wow, we're really clearing this karma up between us. And it's really positive. It's like we have really good relationship now. We're really friendly to each other. And it's just like, whoa, I feel like the karma got clear. It was like literally I put the phone down and I said to my friend, we've just cleared all our karma, like zero.
That just, I know, I feel like that has happened with myself and my not anymore husband. And it does feel, I mean, there's obviously always little things that come up, but like for the most part, the big stuff, those big hurdles, it just like, I was like, I think we're good. I think we're balanced.
Yeah. And his karma with me feels cleared. Like, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a leap of faith and say, this is going to be good. This is going to be good for most people in this eclipse. I think if you don't have a good experience with it, you got to do a little bit more work and start making sure that your choices are in faith-based. You're not creating more karma in your life, because when you make fear-based choices, you're just creating more karma in your life. That's why I do this every day. That's why I divinate. I like to align my choices with higher guidance so that I'm not creating fear-based outcomes. But it's really hard sometimes to know. That's why Scorpio is deep. It's hidden. You don't know it. It's your subconscious. It's the lower conscious. It's the part of you that's driven out of this energy you can't fully understand. And it's because there's no God there. So it's seeking God. So the more you can bring God in on this fear, boy, you will transform.
So I think the one of the key pieces, it feels like to me, and this is a huge eclipse season for me. The Taurus, Scorpio and Taurus for me are gigantic. I'm getting hit from every direction in my life. And I feel it already. And so I'm saying to everyone, you know, for those of you who are maybe not getting quite as pummeled as I am, the key, I think, is to not resist what comes up, to be very open and curious about what it is. And in that curiosity, it may feel gentler when you got to go into those little dark corners that you have spent a long time avoiding.
Yeah.
And then also know, and this is what I just keep telling myself, this is leading to something even better and grander that I could not have possibly imagined, and there would not have been space for without the letting go and the clearing that's taking place now. So it's almost like, I think as humans, when we have something and it's taken from us, we feel this like, oh, I don't want that taken from me.
Right.
But when we realize like we just let go of that in order to have something in the other hand, it's like, oh, okay, well then that's not so bad, you know? So
because, you know, in tarot, you know, it's so funny, there's the Fool card coming in. So the Fool's got a little backpack. Look at that's only that big. This is the beginning of the hero's journey, and you don't have a lot of stuff. You can't bring a lot of baggage with you. You have to get rid of the baggage.
True, very true.
Got to lighten your load. You're constantly lighting. This is what astrology and the 8th house is about. It's about releasing and lighting the load, getting rid of the stuff that no longer our ex-husbands and our ex-relationships and, you know, the energy or the contracts we have with them need to come into closure so that other openings can occur that are trying to come through, that are more destined in your destiny, that are more
destined. Yeah.
Yes.
And
knowing, because human beings, unfortunately, and I say this unfortunately, because it is a challenge. It's why we struggle and suffer, is that we are in our head spaces more than we are our heart spaces, and our heart spaces is our intuitive knowing. And if you were always like an animal in your intuitive higher knowing, you would not have eclipse problems, because you wouldn't have created, you'd be on your path. The eclipse doesn't have to knock you into your path. But humans, we have been given, we severed our mind from the two heads. So we have to have free will. So we have free will to align with divine will or not. And the eclipses come along, and divine, I see this is where we can argue, and people do. And Shakespeare asked this question all the time, is there free will? Because the eclipses come along and are forced changes. So onto our path that seemed like not so much free will.
Well, I guess you do have free will in how you navigate it.
Yeah, you can go crying or you can go laughing.
Yeah. I mean, and I mean, we could go really deep here, but it's almost like it was predetermined anyway. So
that's true.
Already knew that you were going in that direction. And then, so anyway, shall we dive into Aries and take a look at what's happening?
Let's do that. I shall get my little pad opening up. I'm so happy and excited that this hotspot is working today. I shouldn't even say that because it's.
I know.
I could share the screen chart of the day, but I don't think we need that at this point. I mean, I think let's talk about. So for Aries, you guys have Scorpio in your 8th house. That's crazy. Now, you know, 8th house can come with a death. Eclipses in the 8th house can come with a passing of a mother, or because moon usually represents mother. The sun and the moon are going to be in your 8th house, and you have I want to look at the Pluto placement Capricorn for you is career. So again, Aries are going through a very interesting time during this eclipse season, where because Taurus is your 2nd house, so you tend to create karma in making fear-based choices around careers and around work. So in this full moon, in this eclipse coming in on the 25th, which is a new moon solar eclipse, you're going to have an awakening around your security-based choices around finances, because then we have Taurus. You're going to have an eclipse in November 8th in your 2nd house, which is going to put you into a realization that your security is more based on in other words, there's some sort of fear-based choices around finances that are scaring you, that are dividing you from a realization that you have a natural gift or a born ability, because the 2nd house is your own resources. So in the 2nd eclipse is going to be one way of making money and a new way coming in. It will absolutely be very, very auspicious and a good new way. I've had an eclipse in my 2nd house, and I lost alimony. My ex-husband ended up, this is part of this whole journey. His alimony was no longer a possibility in my life, and that was rattled out of me through the eclipse, right? But that was when I literally started doing tarot card readings, and it's like suddenly I'm now self-supporting that way, and it was just blew me away, because there was no way I thought I could earn money without my ex. I was just too afraid, you know. I was so dependent on it for like 20 years or so, raising my kids and running the family and all that. But anyway, so for Aries, you guys you've got Scorpio over your 8th house. You're going to have this eclipse in your 8th house. It's possible you get into a very true, if you're single, Aries, you're going to end up in a relationship, very passionate, sexual based, but divinely sexual based, because we're clearing karma. So we're really raising up. So we're going into a much more, but even if you're not single, this is a work relationship. There's a fear about taking risks in finances, about taking on some kind of a project or some kind of a relationship where you get financing and you go for it, or you pay off in a debt, or you get a inheritance, or you get into a relationship with someone who has a lot of money, and through a relationship, through a friendship. And this could be a business relationship where you get funding to take on a project. Like if you're a film producer, you could suddenly get you could suddenly be awarded like 200 grand or 2 million. That doesn't make you much in a movie to find a script of your choice to produce something like that. So, and then you have, it's like a leap of faith was taken. There's like sudden money, sudden windfall coming in. And then on the second eclipse will be, you become aware that you tap into a natural resource of your own, which in these two things are very much a partner. So in a way, you become fearless about something your own as well. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. And so
we'll go more into that part, but basically there's a financial shift for Aries from fear-based to faith-based to awakening that they also have something within their own toolbox that they can land on with their own 2 feet. They have a resource.
Okay, so how does other people's money play into that?
They may get funding for it. They may either get an inheritance. They may marry into a partnership where or their spouse suddenly gets a windfall. Somebody else, because Scorpio, the 8th house, is about other people's money, other resources. They could suddenly get a huge thing happen in the stocks, could go boom, could go terrible, could go up.
So when it comes to, they realize they have resources, it's resources that come into their world from the outside, and that's the resource. It's not like they have a talent that, I mean, it might be like you were talking about with like a movie or filmmaker or something.
What happens is a financial shift occurs in that 8th house. Either could be forced, like for instance, this woman, she owned this property in California, and she couldn't afford, something happened. She money was destitute. So she was like crying and just like, what am I going to do for money? She throws herself to the ground and she sees the dirt. She goes, the dirt, and she makes clay tiles, and she becomes a millionaire. So
wow, that's crazy.
I know, it's true. It's a true story. So it's kind of like that, like some kind of financing falls out, but then you discover you've got something that you're really good at, something creative, because Taurus is Venus over the 2nd house. So you've got a creative ability or creative talent of writing or something, which then really takes off. But you would never have done it because you were hiding back behind security.
Yeah, gotcha. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. That's cool. Okay, so Taurus.
You guys have Uranus in your 1st house. You guys have the nodes in your 1st house. Your life is changing. I remember when I had the North Node in my 1st house, I'll never forget that my whole life turned around. I moved complete area. I changed entirely relationships. I mean, my whole life, I literally moved up to Idaho, which I was not intending to do. It's a long story. I won't get into it, but it's like, I literally haven't left. And that was in June 2020. The nodes just went into Gemini or something. I can't remember. I have to look. But anyway, bottom line is, this is the point where your life pivots and changes. And for the next 18 years at least. And then you've got Scorpio in your 7th house. So you guys are going through rattling transformations in your relationships. So if you are in a secure-based relationship, fear-based, it's going to go.
Is Taurus in that? Wait a minute. So the moon is in Scorpio. So isn't this the 7th house for Taurus, not the 1st?
Yes. But what have Taurus have going on during this entire year and is the nodes in their 1st house, which is
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what the eclipses are usually about, is about the nodes. So this is and it's happening in your 7th and 1st houses all year. So you guys are being rattled out of your secure-based choices, which are fear-based, into having more devotional faith. Now, this is going to upset any kind of a relationship that is fake, that is not based in, shall we say, the soul direction. And that may have been superficially chosen out of looks, because Taurus is ruled by Venus. No, not all Taurans are like that, but it might have been. That's
a factor, though. I mean, that's good to bring up. I mean, it's just true.
It is. And Taurus like security. They like security. Scorpio have, whatever sign you are, the opposite is also very prevalent in your energy field. Like Cancers are opposing Capricorn. They can be some of the most controlling people. So anyway, so Scorpios can kind of really want that security. They like that security too. That's when they're in their non-devotional state. So for Taurus, these two eclipses are rattling your relationship houses. I know I've been reading for quite a few people in these two because that's why they're coming for readings, because their lives are completely rattled up. If you're in the wrong relationship, it's not going to work.
And when would you say that shows up? Is that something that would show up right away? Like,
oh yeah,
right
you already
now?
know. When I'm doing reads for people right now, I say, I don't know, I think you might not be in this relationship, there might be a big change here. And they're like, I know. Almost always they go, yeah, I'm not in a true love relationship. They know.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not breaking any bad news. And also they really can feel it. Usually by now at this point, because the eclipse is on Tuesday, I mean, in the days around it, things can show up, but it's really a 2-week window either side that things really sort of happen. Like I know someone who I did a read for last night going through a crazy thing at work. She has eclipse in her 10th house, right on her MC, whole thing crazy going on at work. And we're like, oh, I looked at her chart. I said, this eclipse is going to bring you some crazy conflicts and stuff. And we're like, it's already happening. We're like,
yeah.
So she's going to do well in it. It's going to give her a promotion. It's going to do well for her. But again, it's through some sort of a crisis thing where she's busting through a fear and she's reporting some things that aren't fair. So it looked from the card read, it looked great for her. So Taurus, I'm going to pull a card for Taurus. I want to pull a card because these eclipses involve Uranus. And when Uranus is in the picture, we need a little extra divination. Justice card for Taurus. Nice.
Oh, interesting. So tell us more about the Justice card, Madeleine, as it pertains to the eclipse.
Yeah, because Justice is the Libra house. So Justice is Libra, which is the 7th house. So this is balancing out of imbalances around relationships and financing, because Scorpio is always going to involve financials in the picture. So there's a fear, there's a deep, we say plutonic, like this deep Pluto soul transformative shift out of, and if you're in the right relationship, you become less controlling, less fear-based around the relationship, you let go, you let the relationship be there in its full force, rather than expecting some sort of balance or creating or trying to sort of manipulate things in a balanced way, instead of letting just improve the energies, and then the relationship becomes more balanced. That's what the Justice card indicates. But also it can indicate divorces. Justice card can be divorce if you're not in the right relationship, ending. The right thing will happen in your relationship house. That's the most important message for Taurus.
Well, I think when it comes to the relationships, that also involves money too, potentially.
Yes.
If you've got marriage or
Scorpio.
Yeah.
Libra involves contracts. Scorpio involves other people's resources, shared resources.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right.
So it's now what happens is it gets complicated if you share resources with a spouse and a significant other that is not your true destined love partnership, because then you create a lot of karmic baggage that I am clearing out of myself. So
you can, it's just the awareness.
You wake up to realizing, and this is what Scorpio teaches you, is that you can land on your own 2 feet. You and God, you got everything you need. You do not need to distort your life experience or distort your trajectory to create security. You're only going to end up being shall we say, guided or redirected by your soul and the stars. So
wow, I was expecting more for Taurus. I was like kind of bracing myself, and that was actually
really?
not so bad. That was like,
yeah, if you're in the right relationship, it'll be good. I mean, I know you got those squares going on, so there can be conflicts if you've got squares. And Mars is squaring in on these. There's going to be conflict. I just did a reading for someone, and I think I try to give the information gently, but it looks like the relationship's going to end in conflict. So no, it's not bad. I get anxiety around some of these transits. I have to admit, I do. I'm like, oh my God. But
this it got me a little rattled. Like, I mean, my relationship is great, so I'm not concerned there. But
by now you'd know by now if it was.
Yeah. I was kind of
thinking it could be around finances.
I'm feeling a little.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little.
Me too. I've got this squaring my Saturn in my 8th house. So I am and I've got Pluto on my Venus, Saturn on my Saturn during all of this. And that's why I know about bone rattling fear. My soul has always in past lives been in series of financially supported situations. This is the first time my soul is really tested. I'm North Node in my first house. And when you have the North Node in your first house, you're here to discover that you can land on your own 2 feet, but you don't believe you can most of the way.
Yeah.
But
so you're being shown you can.
I'm landing on my own 2 feet. I'm managing. Yeah. It's a miracle.
It's beautiful. All right, let's see what's happening with Gemini.
Gemini, you guys have Taurus in your 12th house. So this is interesting. And you have Scorpio in your 6th. So this really is about letting go of toxic habits that are not good for you, that are based in soul retrieval, soul separation, because the 6th house is, 12th house is about our soul, the hidden part of us, the depth of our psyche. It's the Neptune house, which is the spiritual part of us. And then the 6th house is the Virgo part, is our health, is our day-to-day routine, our work. And if you're having that eclipse there, usually you become aware of I did this when I was telling you about that time, I quit sugar really bad. Like I had to quit sugar. I've had such a sweet tooth my whole life. So I finally really did it on that eclipse and it really stuck. Like I mean, sometimes I slip a little, but very rarely. And, so you're going to quit some toxicity, something that's not good for you. Like if, let's say you're a guy and you have maybe, let's see, the 6th house, what could be that you have to quit? Like I'm thinking of like just sort of maybe some sort of habit or gambling habit on, you know, the lottery machine or something. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be a major addiction. It can be and you know it's making you anxiety, it's giving you anxiety, so you quit it, you quit this game or you quit this little hobby that's creating anxiety that you're doing on a day-to-day level. So, and it's causing problems in your relationship. Maybe you have a porn addiction. Scorpio is about pornography as well. You might be really quitting this obsession with that, or you become really aware and you see the source of the addiction, which is self-abandonment, which you then make that shift in your soul. You make that, you've resolved that, you become aware of it. So once you have awareness of the source of what's triggering that, you correct it. You can soul correct. This is a soul correcting thing. Now for Gemini, what happens, what comes back in is a more integrated self. And your addiction is no longer running you from a subconscious place that you're not aware of. You're just doing it, you know.
The other thing that's coming through right now, and I'm not sure who this is for, is when it comes to addictions or these, and we've got the Scorpio energy too. I'm feeling the sense of there's like secretive nature to it. It's like something that you're hiding from, not necessarily even like an unconscious thing from yourself. It's like you're hiding it from other people.
Yes.
And it's like
hiding an addiction to something like that, like porn or
and just if you are able to release that, like the freedom, the liberation that you'll feel to release and let go of that and allow the space for something more aligned to come in.
Yeah, interesting. Exactly. So what does that mean? The cards really help. Boy, do they help. What that means is you're dominated by a lack of spiritualism. So in other words, an addiction or something that you need to quit is a substitute for a lack of God. Somewhere like this, what Scorpio is, it's where you lack the light, the hope, the faith. It's revealing where you need God. Like for instance, if you have an attachment to a relationship, let's say, that attachment is based in an emptiness that you don't know God can fill. Right? It's hard to explain, but anyway, the Emperor card showing up for Gemini is much about, because it's in the first part of my read and how I teach is he's looking away, so it's out of alignment. So it's dominated by non-spiritual thoughts, because Gemini is very much the micro. It's the 3rd house. It's the material world rather than the macro. So they're going more macro. We're looking more and awakening to the macro. Gemini.
Well, and one thing too, I want to just throw out for people who, if you don't resonate with the term God, you could also think of it as universe, or you could think of it as like a higher power or source or spirit, or fill in whatever word that you want
I just
in
use
there.
God because it's the easiest word, but I really just mean the divine source that the Buddhists tend to talk about, that more light, the benevolent light that creates life.
Yeah.
That's what
I don't know. I was just feeling like that. I needed to throw
Good.
that
I'm
out
glad.
there.
I forget to do that because you know, I'm not religious. But I love spiritualism. So, and to me, there is a source.
Yeah, I agree. But just for those who, you know, so, it's funny. It's the name and the term God can really trigger people.
It can be divisive,
and then as people hear it sometimes, and they're like, "Oh, I'm out," you know. And I just want to throw that out there, like
something.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought it up because I just use that word as the most simple universal term. I actually feel like the word, separate from what it is, has some sort of a resonance to it as well.
It does. You're right.
Yeah. All right. So for Cancer, Cancer, you guys are being rattled to the bone in fear because you have you've got Saturn in your 8th house, blocking most Cancer rising have not been having much intimacy, physical intimacy. So this could be the eclipse that opens that up for you, that changes that situation. It could get pretty hot and heavy for Cancer rising, because actually this eclipse trines your houses. We should really look at all the other houses that are ruled by Libra. I forget to mention that this eclipse is conjuncting Venus. So Venus is an aspect, although it is Cazimi and it is in detriment in the sign of Scorpio, but it is there.
Yes.
And the Libra houses for Cancer is the 4th. I'm sorry, the Venus houses is the 4th and the 11th. So this is very lucky gains and wins, good things happening for Cancer in this eclipse. This is a good eclipse for Cancer, other than the fact that it is squaring any planets you have in your 8th house in the sign of Aquarius, which you're gonna get over. I mean, you know, you're going to find and discover that you have powers. You're not just a victim. That's oftentimes what these eclipses show us, that we do have power. That's about power struggle. How do we have power? Do we just like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed by the problem, I have no power, I'm just like, or do I get over, because Scorpio means I stop that processing headspace and I go, okay, let's just see where I do have power and what I can change and what I can do in this situation. So something that has been burdening Cancer here, something 10 of Wands has been burdening Cancers. A burden hopefully is going to be financial. So Cancer, again, with the 8th house, there may have been some sort of Saturn there would have been financially oppressive. And that seems to be over with, you see, because we get this card, you see, there's that power card. So the Cancers are learning to land on their own 2 feet financially. And we get some good finances, good money coming in. So Cancer have been in the fear zone. They have Scorpio, they have Aquarius over their 8th house. So they've been burdened by fears of finances that have thrown them out of alignment mentally, energetically. Tower card, opportunity coming in. So I think Cancer looks good. It does activate the 12th, the 11th house, which is lucky gains and wins and notoriety and being seen or known, or something opening up for Cancer. Really great. All the water signs, by the way, are going to have, I guess, unless you're Scorpio, because then it could be, you know, it's going to be challenging. But I forget to add, there's a really nice trines. These eclipses can trine your chart, and then you get really great stuff. So Cancer have some really nice stuff coming in. So for me, it's sextiling and trining all my sun, my ascendant, and my moon. So I feel pretty good about it.
Nice.
I know. I'm like, yes. And you know, what's interesting is I have really overcome that fear now. I mean, I feel very able to land on my own 2 feet. So the Magician card is about feeling connected to this universe and knowing how to maneuver through these things and survive. So your survival is not a threat. You just have to maneuver. That's kind of Scorpio.
It is kind of swim gently through that water.
Yeah, you just kind of find that way through, because when you look at the chart, when I do these drawings, and this is something I do for people, when I do sessions, is we see the way through. We see the way through. It's very clear. It's very visual. And
I
so
love that, Madeleine. That's so cool. So for anyone who's looking to see the path through.
I will do that drawing for you, and it becomes very clear.
Yeah. All right. What about Leos?
Okay, Leo, you guys have, I see Taurus in your 10th house, Aquarius in your 7th, Scorpio 1st. So you're a fixed sign. So it depends on, remember your degrees matter, but if you're at those degrees of pretty much 1 to 20, I mean,
1 to 20.
I mean, because, I know, because this eclipse is at 2 degrees, Scorpio, which is a fixed sign. So if you've got, anything within high degree Cancer or low degree Leo is this eclipse, but then we go to mid degree Leo, and that's the next eclipse is going to square. So if you have an ascendant at 15, 16 degrees, somewhere in there, you're going to be squared by this eclipse, which means you're forced shift direction. Squares force change. I know all about it. I've been watching them.
I got that.
Hallelujah.
I'm in it.
You're in it. Yeah. So, and it's involving property, real estate, most likely. Scorpio is in the 4th house for Leo. And then we have Taurus in the 10th house involving career shift and changes. So it's like how these things all connect, and then relationship. So you're looking at a big big grand cross, 1st house, 10th house. This is a cardinal cross. This is big. It's happening in your 10th, your 4th, your 7th, and your 1st. So we are talking about job and career shifting and moving homes, careers, relationships, the cardinal houses, all taking a big major redirect here.
I didn't even see this when I was looking, Madeline.
Really?
And I did a deep dive today, and I was so focused on other things. I totally missed this. I'm so glad I didn't see this earlier. I would have been beside myself. I would have been like, that's it. I just give up. I don't even know what else to say. So
yeah, no, that's the best thing to do right now, because trying to fix anything, we're just, what do we say? It's the idiot eclipse, where we've all been an idiot in some way. And where we've tried to fix something and it's only made it worse. And we're going to discover the best thing now is to not try to fix it. Just let it be, let it go, let it flow. And then the clarity comes on the other side. The way forward will happen. There's an open door. I've seen it because I've been studying all these squares, because I've had a bunch of them. And I have, even though this eclipse is good for me, then it goes, the sun and the moon, then after eclipse goes into squaring Saturn, the sun will square Saturn a couple days later. So that's going to be tricky. So the best thing to do is to just watch and not try to fix anything right now, not push your way around and get heavy on somebody, because that's just, Saturn is going to be like, whoa.
Wow. Okay. So talk to us more about this. So we've got the 4th, the 7th, the 10th. So it's where you're living, your home life, your contracted relationships, your career. I mean, the big ones.
Yeah, because this is
the only thing missing is like the 1st house of self, but everything else is covered.
It's an angular house, right? These are the angular houses. So these are your biggest shifting houses. Yes. Angular houses are your seasonal cardinal shifts. Like 1 minute you're wearing a sweater and 1 minute you're in a t-shirt, and the next thing you're in a sweater. That's the seasonal shifts. So that's what we're looking at. And these are forced changes. 10 of Pentacles comes up for you guys. 10 of Pentacles work. Wow, this could be good. This could be good. I like these. Try not to go to doomsday. Sometimes these squares make you go a new direction that I'm telling you, could look at this.
Yeah. I like the Wheel of Fortune.
I know. And then look, you've been out of alignment somehow and trying to make your money. And we could, if you wanted a session, we'd go deeper. But
yeah, we'll probably talk.
Yeah, this looks like a new way of making money that is more fated, that is more in alignment with something that is truly abundant for you. Very much so. So yes, let go of anything that is blocked, because you've got a better path opening up for sure, Leo, for sure. Squares, as scary as they are, can just be that you're going the wrong way.
Right.
Like you're in a bumper car and you go boom, you hit the wall and you got to go this way.
Is there, you know, with the seventh house, the Aquarius aspect of that, can you speak a little bit more about that? Because for some reason that feels important, but I don't know why.
Actually,
And
it is. Because as we're speaking right now, Saturn is stationing direct. Literally, everything's going to open up for everybody in general. Better. Things are going to start moving forward. Thank you, Jesus. But Saturn is now stationing direct in your seventh house. So something involving your spouse or your person, or you're the one in the relationship, is now going forward. And it's most likely because the seventh house is a contracted situation. So some sort of a contracted project, business, seventh house can be businesses, is now going forward. Pluto is going direct now in what house for Leo? Capricorn house for Leo, sixth house, work related projects.
Yeah.
And that is kind of what I'm getting here, that work card. Something is going forward with work that you're going to realize is your guys' purpose. Because it's involving career, moving, changing a living situation, changing your status in your relationship, where you stop, where you really let go of trying to sort of define it, maybe. Because this is where this is in the Fool's Journey. I'm setting up courses, by the way.
Oh, Madeleine got
left. They're intimate online. Am I cutting out?
You did. You were just talking about your course and we lost you.
So so it's a small group. We get together. I teach the tarot, and we're going to focus on the arcanas, the journey of the soul, basically towards the world card, which is attainment. You start with the Fool card, where it's the naive, the unknowing, the fool, the making mistakes. Then you end to attainment. So in these Zoom sessions, everybody gets readings or small groups. We really seek aligned actions through tarot. It's beautiful. So anyway, if you want to join, we have 2 spots left. But why was I bringing this up? The reason I was bringing it up, but I've forgotten. Okay.
I think you were talking about the Fool's Journey and just kind of this.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. I forgot where I was going with that. But anyway, bottom line is we are on this journey, and this nodes, basically there's a part of the journey where you've started the journey, and you think you're failing and you're falling on your face. And this is what happens when you live your nodes, but you don't know that you've created a momentum that's actually going to start carrying you. And you're still fighting and doing all the work, and you don't know that there's a momentum. And then what happens is you just give up and you surrender. And then you find the momentum takes you forward, that you've actually already started this trajectory. And so then you sort of release and you let go, and you ride the wave towards your destiny. That's the Fool's Journey. That's the hero's journey, becoming the hero, where you've released your ego and you now work with cosmos. You're working with the cosmos towards your destiny. I don't know why I brought that up, but that came up.
Much easier. That's so much easier to do that.
Yeah. So you seek aligned action is the point of tarot and astrology. So
nice. All right. Virgo.
Virgo. You guys have this, you have Aquarius, you have this fixed signs in your third, Scorpio's in your third house. So information, communication, ideas, a mind eclipsing an idea or a friendship, or like, shall we say, business partnership or sister. You may end a relationship with a sibling. The moon is there, ending some sort of short distance commute that isn't right for you, because that could be the third house. And then we've got Taurus in your ninth. So yeah, this is about opening up your mind and changing and shifting, and old beliefs really rattling your sense of spiritualism. It's sort of like a transformational experience around communication as well, because Scorpio in the third house about communicating a truth, speaking the truth. Scorpio is about the truth. And as well as, so is Sagittarius, but Scorpio, there's an emotional depth, ugly truth that comes out. secrets. But so some kind of a secret will come out that shifts and changes your beliefs around somebody. High priestess comes out for Scorpio. Interesting, spiritual. You got that ninth house going on. So it's almost like you're having a spiritual awakening around some sort of information around a secret that could be toxic, but it wakes you up to spiritualism. Maybe you wake up to your own toxic opinions about something, love, money, security. You become more spiritual with that high priestess card. You become more connected. Your ego is involved here. Security, I get the devil here. So it's that transformation from spirit to ego spirit. There's the ego, there's the spirit. And then there's this wall, the ego wall, which protects us from fully opening to spirit, from fully opening our channels to self-fulfillment, self-attainment, like feeling full. In other words, there's an awareness around what fills your cup spiritually that's been releasing the ego of that journey, ascending, because Scorpio is death and rebirth. So we're really looking at major shifts here. And
major shifts.
Very much so. So you're shifting out of ego into more spiritual. We all are with the Scorpio Taurus thing, but it's going to be around, for Virgo, it's going to be around communications, short distance travel, toxic communication, toxic relationships that are in your immediate future. Maybe you hold on to relationships that are just around you, that are like siblings or neighbors every day, and they're actually not good for you. So you might end those relationships, and then you seek more your spiritual tribe. You become more spiritual with the ninth house. And depending on where you are in life, sometimes ninth house is later in life partner. So you could have if you're later in life, you could have your divine partner. Everybody, this Scorpio Taurus eclipse is relationships. Taurus is ruled by Venus, Scorpio is ruled by Mars. So we're really looking at relationships and resources, shared and joint.
Oh, that's so cool. If you think about it in terms of the last moon cycle we had with the Libra energy and relationships, and Aries with the new beginnings and fresh starts and all that, and now here we are where it's all connected again with the Venus Mars aspect of it. Which,
and I keep forgetting to say that Venus is in on this. Venus is in on this picture, in mix Kazemi, purifying. Venus is going to come out purified on the other side. Fantastic. Which brings us to Libra, which brings us to the Libra sign, which is ruled by Venus. So you guys are in Kazemi. Your ruling planet is Kazemi with the sun right now. So you're a little bit in hibernation, a little bit weak. Your energies are a little bit weak right now, Libras. Mm-hmm. But the Scorpio is in your second house. And then we've got that 8th house of Taurus. So you guys are definitely learning to have more faith in your own resources, but also something will go away as in their Scorpio. You're going to have some way that you made money with Scorpio over your second house. You either made money through your own ability. Like I do know a Libra who makes money over their investments of properties. So it's like, it's money from outside resources, but it's their own personal resources because they own the property, because owning property is your own resources. So it's like, it's going to be eclipsed. So it means bye-bye, gone. Some way of earning money will now eclipse to a new way of earning money, which is going to be possibly from getting involved in a relationship with somebody that has money, and you are now blessed with a spouse with money, or you fall into an inheritance in this next eclipse, Taurus in your 8th house. You could suddenly get a increase in your stocks, or they could go kaboomba. One of the two. We're talking eclipse, and with Uranus is in on this, because Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. We don't know exactly, is it for better or for worse, but ultimately it is for better, because something else will open up that could be very abundant for Libra. This could be in a very abundant eclipse happening in your 9th and 8th and 2nd houses for Libra Aries. If you can get out of your fear-based, restricted mind, because that's what this is about, the trauma processing story that stops us from blocks us from the true path, the true story. That's really happening that your soul wants, because that's the mind. The soul is taking another journey here, separate from the mind. So for Libra, and Libra, dude, this is a relationship shakeup for Libra. They've got Jupiter in their 7th house, still in retrograde, but Libra are one of the ones that do fall into karmic relationships a lot, because they have a Capricorn over their 4th house. So they tend to put, wherever you have Capricorn, you push, you make it happen faster, you want it more. And it can be as a karmic fear-based thing, as a control thing, but you're going to have to let go because it didn't work. Whatever Libra is trying to force doesn't work. They want to be in a relationship, and they got to go with the right one. And Libra is air. They tend to avoid the heart space. So they're ones that are going to be rattled by this eclipse. So for their highest good, though, and it could be a windfall, financial windfall coming in for a lot of people, though, too. Just so you know, there's really good energy. There's some trines here. There's the other side of these eclipses is so that things are better. So Libra, let's pull some cards for Libra.
So for Libra, the financial piece of it, that could go either way. I mean, really, you could be in a really good place, or it could be like a crisis. Okay.
I'm going to say, because it's a death and transformation, it leads you to the better way that is more abundant, because, you know, the 8th house there, I would say on the whole, they win on this one.
Okay.
I think out of the 2 eclipses, because the motivation for being in the other relationship may have been financial stability or security or family security or something. And when I say the other relationship, if they are doing that, if some Libras are in their true love relationship, but that relationship will go through a transformation, will become more pure. So the cards that come up, we do get the Hermit and we do get the King of Cups. So we do get them realizing that, you know, they made out of alignment. They couldn't be alone. Libra have a hard time being alone. That's what this is saying.
Yeah.
And then they found their power by being able to be alone. They were then able to step into their power. So maybe that's what's going on for Libra.
Yeah, that feels aligned.
Yeah. And then the Justice card popped out just now. So that is for their balance, to balance into the right relationship.
Yeah.
So Scorpio.
Right.
Scorpio. Okay. Well, you know, Scorpio, I know a lot of Scorpios going through a lot of crazy relationship stuff too, like bouncing in and out and kind of not sure what they're doing. So this should be the eclipse. And this is trining you, this eclipse. If you have Scorpio anywhere in the lower degrees, the next eclipse will trine you. I'm sorry, I take that back. It's on you. What am I saying?
Yeah, I was going to say, is it trining? Because I don't feel it. It's conjunct.
It's on. It is trining water signs, but Scorpio, it's on you. It's on you guys. What am I thinking? Okay. So this is where you do the rubber meets the road for Scorpio here, in the sense that you're going to have a transformation. Something's going to radically shift and change about who you are, your I amness, your realization as to your own true innate power, because this is a power struggle eclipse. So it's like everyone's going to discover that they gave their power away in some way to their fears. You give your power away when you're afraid of something, you give it to that. So Scorpio is sort of coming into their own power more, into their own, walking their own true path more, and getting out of the choices that were, they thought seemed like secure-based choices, that in fact, secure-based choices are not secure at all. The most secure choice is a spiritually based choice. It will hold because it holds by spirit. The material is always subject to change. The ethereal is, and the heart is non-change. The mind is mutable. The earth is not, the feminine is not. So we're waking up to that. So Scorpio is going to become more into their own center power rather than giving it away to relationships. But I'm telling you, Scorpio, you guys have the Taurus eclipse coming in November 8th. So say bye-bye to a relationship, or transforms your relationship into a business partnership. A contract can be signed with your true. You may buy a property. You know, that square we were talking about for Leo. Remember, this is all the fixed signs are all on this square. So maybe you end up in a relationship, or you transform your relationship and you buy a property, or you move together and create some kind of a career. But Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, and Taurus, you're all on this same, this whole eclipse is on your angular houses. So so just expect moving, relationship changes, moving, job changes, the whole deal.
Everything. Yeah.
Like you
All of
said.
it.
So let's pull a card for Scorpio. Scorpio calling in Scorpio's guides. Awakening, interesting. This is you guys waking up to your innate power. And a devotional understanding that following spirit is and having your wow, look at this. This is a powerful eclipse for everybody. Look at this. See how we have safety. This card always represents safety. We have the star card, and we have financial progress, and we have spiritualism, joy, fun. So basically we're stepping out of security based and financially progressing towards a more spiritually guided, progressive financial through optimism, through faith, having a more optimistic approach to your choices in financial, knowing that you're safe as long as you keep your vibes and you're spiritual. Awakening.
So fear-based choices right now for anyone really, know that that is absolutely the wrong way to go.
Yep. It's going to come up and it's going to be a problem. And it's probably going to get blocked because we're being pushed into taking the world, all of us collectively, into a better place. And the reason the world is in the place that it's in is because it was a series of fear-based, masculine, out of aligned choices. I'm not saying the men did it all. Women were in masculine energies, fear-based as well, which is a series of choices that we make that do not serve the highest good. And we are not aware of them fully. We're trying, but we're all doing our best.
We're trying out here.
But the reality is we're severed from our higher knowing, and we're trying to find that. We're trying to realign with that. The more alignment we are with that through, in my opinion, divination, the more we are going to take the higher reality that the universe is trying to create through us. That's what I believe all this is for.
It's super cool. Truly. And I'm just looking at the chat here. We've got a few folks that have joined us.
Yay.
Alex was asking if there was a way to join the Zoom. Unfortunately not. You're not able to join us, but if you have any questions or comments, please do pop them in the chat. Matt also is like really passionate about this topic. Let us know what you're thinking about. We'd love to know. Alex is saying she's a Cancer. So I didn't notice your messages earlier, but I appreciate you guys popping in.
Did she have did she relate to the Cancer reading about Saturn in the 8th house? Like, has she been single for a while?
Well, let's see. Alex, pop us a message in here. Matt is saying, I think I'm assuming he's joking around. His baby brother is being born, but he's a Gemini. Should I put him up for adoption? Probably not. Keep him around.
No,
so
when was this baby born? They're probably born around these eclipses. Are going to be powerful people born in eclipses. A lot of kings and queens and princes are born on eclipses. So I don't know when this baby was born, but anyway.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'll pop back over there and take a look and see.
Okay, that's fun. That's fun. All right. Yeah. Did I pull cards for what were we doing? Scorpio? Did I pull?
Yeah, we're good. We got that. I think we're good there. Let's move on to Sagittarius.
Sagittarians. Okay, you guys are Taurus trines Sagittarius. So Scorpio sextiles it. So this is okay for Saggies. This energy for Sagittarius is in your Scorpio is in your Sagittarius. Scorpio is your 12th house, right?
Yeah.
So you guys are releasing some deep fears for sure. And I know Sagittarians that are going through a lot of scorpionic type shifts right now as far as their careers and their work. So what else is a Scorpio for Saggies? Because it involves your 3rd house, your 6th house work, and Scorpio 12th, and then Libra rules your 11th. Ooh, that's nice. Something good could happen through friends and through meeting a tribe. Aquarius is 3rd house and Taurus is 6th. So some kind of a work project related thing opens up for Sagittarians, and Saturn is going direct finally for Sagittarians, which is great, which is in your 3rd house. Communications open up. stuff, interesting things start happening for Sagittarians, but this eclipse will take away a old, low self-esteem, lack of belief, and a karma, a deep karma repaying, which will then be paid because it involves your a third house and your sixth house, Taurus, which is a challenging house. I mean, sixth house is a tough house. The 12 houses are tough houses. That's a tough house to have an eclipse in. It's challenging on Sagittarians, but
that potentially also be health issues with the sixth house.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Health issues. So yeah. I would say again, Sagittarians are going to quit something. My son is Sagittarius. I think he's really, really doing that. He's starting to be a lot more healthier, eating better. But it's possible a crisis comes up with health, that then I forget to add this if you've got that access for Gemini too. A health crisis comes up that makes you quit something. That's what happened to me. I had a health crisis come up and I had to quit sugar and gluten. So it's for your better good. I feel so much healthier. I'm so glad I did.
So it's not easy or fun in the moment of it.
Yeah.
That's just the reality.
Yeah. It's a journey that you have to take. But Aquarius in your Capricorn, Pluto going direct in your second house. So fears around finances now finally opening up. Saturn going direct in your third house, busier time, busy with work, short distance travel, businesses. But now with this eclipse in your 12th house, I think Sagittarians are going to get onto the other side of a deep fear around finances and self-supporting because it's through Taurus. I think they've built a lot of karma in creating financial security for themselves, which was not based in a way that was spiritually in line for them. And I think that that's what's opening up for Sagittarius. Now with Scorpio in your 12th house, this is very karmic. I think Sagittarians are becoming very aware of their karma. And in fact, I can think of this one Sagittarius. I think they are very aware now. I had to tell them, this is my ex-husband, this was a karmic thing. And he's like, I don't create karma. Like he got really angry. And then I said, karma is how you're playing a victim. And he goes, I'm not a victim. And he got and then he really changed all his karma in the situation because he's refused to play victim to it anymore. So he cleared his karma.
Well, and you're also a Sag.
Yes, I am Sagittarius.
So it's interesting how you both are and how you're both cleared that.
We are definitely clearing our karma. We have a lot of nodal synastries. We've a lot of karma together.
Wow.
So, but it's actually turned out really great between us. We've got this wonderful relationship. And that's when you know the karma's cleared because you don't have any sort of anger or frustrations anymore. So for Sagittarians, see, now we are looking at new beginnings. Don't forget with Jupiter, your ruling planet in the sign of Aries, which is why I get the Fool card. So Saggies are about to launch a whole new chapter in their lives, a 12-year cycle with Jupiter, your ruling planet in the sign of Aries. So, which is in your 5th house, new relationships coming in. This could, again, these are all relationships coming in and leaving around this time for everybody. Because Scorpio Taurus is very much relationships, sexual relationships, secure relationships, that access. So Sagittarians will most likely find a relationship here in these energies because they've cleared some deep insecurities around their own abilities to self-sustain. Like they've got their act together energies.
Yeah. Which that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
That feels good.
Yeah, everybody's going to feel right now on the verge. This is an on the verge, no doubt about it. You're at the verge. That's what I'm going to name mine. On the verge of disaster. On the verge, great. It's on the verge of disaster or the opposite. Like
maybe that's what I'll put in my email love letters.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the verge.
On the verge.
Speaking of which, I think this is a perfect segue into if you are interested in following the moon cycles and you want a little guidance and help, I have these little sheets that give you the basics for the current moon cycle, a little bit of the former new and full moons. And there's the print format, or you can do a digital format as well and just type it in. I have both available, and they're only available to my love letter subscribers, but it's a fabulous way to keep track of the energy and follow the story and see what's happened from the last full moon to now and the last new moon to now. And you can see how life really is shifting and changing, and it's really transformational.
Yeah, that's so interesting. That's why I do this. When I do these diagrams, what I'm actually doing is tracking the moon as it travels all the way around. And then I take notes of everything that happens during this because what happens is you have these stable transits, and then the moon comes in and triggers these other longer transits. So that's why following the moon is important. You can really watch when something's about to happen. You'll run into somebody, right? If the moon is on your Uranus, it's all really fascinating. So
it is. I don't know that many of us can do what you're doing now. So I think that might be a simpler.
Well, I think what you're saying is watching the moon and tracking, which great idea. Great idea. Especially for women. All right.
Capricorn.
Capricorn.
11.
Capricorn, you guys have Scorpio in your 11th house. Nice. That could be good for Capricorn. Again, I think this eclipse is good for most cardinals because it trines the cardinal houses. And so you guys have Scorpio in your 11th house, suddenly a win. Good. You could meet old friendship going, old groups of people going, but you could have a windfall or meet a new group of people that turns into a relationship. You meet somebody there, it becomes very sexually passionate. Scorpio, that energy could happen. Then you've got Taurus in your 5th, very much relationship, eclipse. For you guys could happen, a relationship could come in, a friend's now becomes a permanent relationship. I hope so. I know some Capricorns, I would really like to see them in those kinds of relationships. And it's trining or sextiling, depending if you look at Scorpio is sextiling, but if you look at Taurus in the next eclipse, it's trining. So something really good is going to happen for Capricorn in the relationships. And they've been rattled around a lot with Pluto and Saturn. Capricorn deserves some relief here. So, yes, again, I get wow. Cards
are flying.
Yes. Sex, reigniting, a return. This could be relationship from the past, what is truly spiritual, divine nature, sex or physical. Reigniting could be a true relationship, a spiritual relationship with a spirit, soul connection, reignition. So it's like coming back from the past, because this is the reigniting relationship. That's what we're looking at. There's only one woman a man will always reignite for, shall we say.
Say that one more time. There's only one woman a man will reignite for.
His whole life. In other words, he can always get it up for.
When you say reignite, I was thinking like, okay,
I was thinking like, metaphorically.
Okay, because I was thinking in terms of like, okay, they'd end the relationship and then they'd get back together, and there's only one woman who would do that for.
Yeah, it's called the reignition card, you see? This is the divinely reigniting. And so what happens is the erection reignites for that woman until the day they die, like forever. There's only one person that will happen for. So this is what we wake up to, reigniting. You wake up to the reigniting person when you still have it for. And that it doesn't go away for.
That is so interesting.
It is, isn't it?
Quite interesting.
Every other relationship, the masculine will not be able to reignite consistently for it. Because it's not soul. See, because it has to be soul. It's not the spirit coming in. There's only one that is spiritually fed. It's refed by the soul. The ignition happens from the soul rather than the mind.
Very interesting.
Which is why these karmic relationships tend to fall, because the sex will break apart. Because it's not reigniting.
So interesting. Okay.
Good to know, isn't it?
That like
most men will tell you that's true. I've been told.
Yeah. Okay. Fascinating.
Fascinating. Yeah. That's why you're going to end up eventually in your divine mate relationship. If you've met them already, you'll end up back with them because you discover that that's the reignition relationship.
Yeah. Wow.
So for Capricorn, I see reigniting a past relationship, feeling quite passionate and realizing this is your soul's trajectory. I don't want you to say soulmate, because soulmates are slightly different. We're looking at twin flame type things. We're looking at your other half, your soul, your spiritual relationship, the divinely intended, reignited. See, it keeps coming up.
Yeah.
So this could be a fabulous sexual season for many people. Reigniting sex with the reignited sex. Passionate.
But beware, if that happens, that also can create something 9 months later that you may or may not be interested in.
Yeah, that is
So-
very true, because we are looking at the 5th house for a Capricorn igniting with Taurus. So watch out
Yes.
if you are not intending to make more people on this planet.
Yeah, right.
Prepare ye.
Okay, so let's see. So we're at Aquarius now.
Aquarius, Saturn stationing direct. Woohoo for Aquarians on your ascendant. You guys, now things are going to go forward. I can't tell you how many people I read for. I'm just like, oh, I wish these planets would start stationing direct for them. It's like, they're like, when is this going to happen? I'm like, it's coming. Saturn is stationing direct. Don't worry, which is great for me because I have a Saturn return. Saturn is stationing direct. Hallelujah.
Oh, yay.
I love it. So Aquarians are going to be happy about that in this eclipse. And then we have Scorpio in your 10th house. So you most likely are, and I have a couple of Scorpios I'm reading for who are absolutely quitting working as much as they're working. 10th house is your career, but also you could suddenly become famous and well known. I know another Aquarian Scorpio on their MC, and they might be launched into public notoriety over a lawsuit she's in, and she's doing a really wonderful thing. So she is quite a shaker in her own ways, and she has her moon up there. So she's kind of a leader. So you could be looking at sudden propulsion into limelight, into being known, into being seen, or you do get a raise, or you do end a job, a crisis, you quit your job quits. I know another Aquarius who is quitting back on her work for, she's not retiring, you could retire, but she is no longer working as hard because it's draining her. So she's trusting not to work out of fear-based overworking, and trusting that she will be financially self-supporting if she cuts her hours back, so that she can be more involved in a relationship. Because if you have MC Scorpio, you're most likely, your angular houses are all going to be fixed, because your 7th house is going to be Taurus. So in her 7th house, Aquarians, yeah, you have Taurus over your 4th, so most likely moving, Leo over your 7th. So you've got the grand square going on. So this eclipse is going to change your life in all those angular houses. But the 11th house, Aquarius, it could be, you've got Uranus there. So, financial liberation is in the story. For everybody, actually.
I was going to say, just for Aquarians or everyone?
No, everybody, because Aquarius is Aquarius, Uranus went into the sign of Taurus May 15th, 2018, because that's the day I bought my property, and I knew it was going to do well because I bought it on the day Uranus went into Taurus.
Smart.
Yep, financial liberation. That's why astrology is so great. So Uranus is the planet of financial liberation, and so that's why the financial world seems very unstable, because we have Uranus and Taurus right now. So financial liberation happens at the end of that cycle. So or during that cycle. So for everybody, somewhere, whatever choices you're making in your Aquarian or your Taurus, your Taurus house, is a secret to liberating. Financially becoming.
So for Aquarians, the Taurus house would be their 4th house.
Yeah.
So where you're living, your home, family, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And there's something about the Aquarian soul, their personality, something that's about them that will liberate them financially. Like this woman who's Aquarius, her work, I think she's going to become liberated financially through, and she's not going to have to, I predict she's not going to have to work. She's going to have work coming at her that is interesting to her, and she doesn't have to do her day-to-day job anymore. So it's like you might get the flow or the momentum of your efforts here coming in for a lot of people, because Saturn is indirect during this time, which is squaring, which is part of the fixed square. So
big changes. Big changes.
Yeah. So let's pull the cards here for Aquarians. The deck just went bouncing onto the floor and made a big mess. So it's like, it's eclipse season. This happens. The cards go crazy. And they're all upside down. I don't like to work with an upside down deck, because when one comes upside down, I know it's very deliberate.
Right.
So, and I'm quite a specific reader. I like to be quite accurate. So let's pull the cards here for this.
We'll hang tight for you, Madeleine.
I got it. I can do it.
Situated.
Okay, good. So we get the Chariot. So it's like for Aquarius, there you go, the Chariot. That's like things moving forward.
Moving forward, yeah.
Yep. Slowly but steady. Things good. Wheel of Fortune, nice. That's fate. That's the nodes. The nodes are squaring your ascendant or opposing. No, squaring your ascendant. So you are being redirected to your true calling, but it looks good. If fate, that it's the, yep, look, sun, good. See, I tell you guys, I'm seeing more of things going in the right way here for everybody. I think we're ending a bad cycle, a bad period, a dark time, a hard time. I think we're on the other side of this. Look at this. This card pops out.
Ooh-wee.
And then I get the High Priestess card. So go spiritual, everybody. That means do something that is more spiritually in faith that you think you may not necessarily make money at, but you love it and it fulfills you on a spiritual level. It's going to do well. You'd be surprised. The world is changing. It's changing. We have an old way of processing. We can't see the changes so well. We're still feared about the way it was, but people are opening up to spiritual practices more and seeking higher alignment. So take that path if it seems like it's the right path for you, or you feel the nudge there.
Yeah. I think that's always a good rule of thumb. Yeah. Whenever you feel that pull forward or you feel good about something, that's the most aligned.
Wow, the World card came out. Yeah. So, and you know, the World card is very much about cleared karma. It's zero attachment, zero fear, zero grippage. You know, just allowing the birth to happen through the universal forces rather than your own forces. That frees up the energy of the universe to work through you. So, and then we get forced surrender so the universe can work through us.
All right.
Pisces.
Bring it on home with Pisces. Oh my gosh.
Pisces. You guys have Scorpio in your 9th and Taurus in your 3rd and Aquarius in your 12th, Taurus 3rd. What's the other sign am I looking for here? Leo 6th. Okay. So you guys are really learning to, well, Scorpio over the 9th. I mean, you know, have more faith, really, in a really simple kind of shallow way to say it is to have more faith and to really believe in a spiritual purpose in your life and to believe that you have spiritual sustenance, to, you know, open up more to trusting in your, I think Pisces are much more devotional. I have a Pisces moon and I can sort of relate to that because I feel once you get over that fear of survival, you then just sort of keep going and you just sort of feel like, well, I guess the survival is in the hands of the divine and I'm obviously surviving. So I guess I'll keep going. So it's kind of like Pisces are raising their vibrations around a deep fear around spiritual protection or spiritual assistance, you know, and Taurus being in their 3rd house, that next eclipse. Well, that could be, that's a challenging one. What Aquarius in your 12th. So it's kind of like a new birth around a business, a small business, becoming busier, more short distance travel, shifts. Something happens in your work world that makes you busier, that makes you seen or known more, because what do you have in your, you've got Capricorn, Pluto going forward, and Aquarius, Saturn going forward. So there's sort of like a big shift. These are very shifting energies for everybody, very much, because we've got the sun going into Scorpio, which is a shift right there. And this is early degree Scorpio. So we're really seeing a big shift in the courage and like the Pisces are going to have more faith and courage to really step into a leap of faith in the Scorpio. They're going to be more devotional about their, I mean, let's pull cards, Pisces.
Well, one thing that's coming through for me is that with Pisces, it's also this a shift in the way their belief system and the way they engage with a higher power.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, and it's also a communication you know, because the
That's
communication
so
is part of
crazy.
it too.
Look, communication, spiritual. That is so crazy. Look at
Yeah.
the cards.
There we go.
Crazy.
Confirmation.
Communication.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, let's pull one more on that. Fascinating.
Okay.
Fascinating. So we're talking spiritual communication that makes you more financially in alignment, or more financially abundant, or more financially self-sustaining.
Because it feels like when Pisces are able to recognize that there is a higher power at play, and that power is playing with you, like together. You're in the sandbox together, and you're creating this beautiful sandcastle. You know, that things start to move a lot more. It's a lot more fluid. Like you make these choices that are more in alignment with who you are. Yes, you're taking a leap of faith, but the leap of faith is no longer so scary. Right. And then you begin to see the fruits of the labor, or the fruits of the leap of faith, the fruits of that connection, that communication with the divine. That's kind of what I'm.
Interesting. Yes. Yes. I like it. And it's almost like a less precious relationship, or a less, just sort of like grounding in it more. But
yes,
you know, the other thing I want to say is this is a very lucky house, the 9th house. So they could have very good luck in finances too, because I am getting some good money cards here.
Okay.
So it's almost like, let's see, let's pull a couple cards to clarify that one more time. Oh, the World, Pisces, because, you know, Pisces really are on a trajectory to clear karma, emotional things going forward. I think that Pisces feel out of that state of fear, you know, because it's Aquarius is in your 12th house. So Saturn's going direct, coming into your sign soon. So we are looking at a big maturity of Pisces. That's what it would most likely be, like a mature, you know, ending negative thinking, working. In other words, Pisces are often some of the worst at telling negative stories. In Vedic, they tend to say the Pisces are, when I deal with Pisces ascendant, not so much maybe Pisces moon, but Pisces ascendant tend to have the most doomsday stories, the most, you know, it's not working out, everything, So it's like, they're going to wake up and go, oh, even despite my doomsday prophecies, everything is turning out fine, and I'm alive, and I'm surviving, and we're on a roll. So, you know, flow is happening for my highest good that is held by the universe. So they might get knocked out of some sort of stagnant mind thinking, because the 9th house can be rigid ideas, rigid beliefs, rigidity. So there's a loosening of a rigidity there.
And when that happens, like, then it's.
Yeah, then we get a flow, the water flow, the Pisces water flow.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, in general, for everybody, for good or bad, you're being forced into a direction that is ultimately better. And we're all collectively clearing. As a collective, we're all clearing these fear-based choices. We're becoming more confident, more bold. It's ruled by Mars. We're becoming more in our power, our sovereign power. I mean, that's just, look at this. We're clearing the karma within us that put us out of our sovereignty power. We're coming into sovereignty. You know, we're evolving into a more empowered race of people. If I would really, and we are hardworking. This country is a hardworking country, America, but it's a little fear-based. And I think that we're going to shift our hardworking energies into productive, faith-based direction here as a collective. I think it's a really positive couple of eclipses coming up. So hang in there. If something feels out of your hands, it is.
And I would just say, just keep breathing, keep realigning, moving towards grounding. Yes. Thank you for that.
My favorite thing is right now sitting on big rocks. Like, I go out on these walks by the lake and I sit on this big boulder rock, and I mean, I can just feel the tension pull out of my body. The fears just suck the rock, because it's the earth energy. It's a magnetic, so it'll pull the lower density energy. So release your fears into the ground, into the rock. It's great. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that too. And I mean, it's getting colder. I know it's getting colder
That's
by
true.
you, you know, so, but you can still be outside, you know, you can still go and put your hand on a tree. You can still feel the sunshine. I mean, there's plenty of things you can do. I think it's, if you can connect in some way sensorily in nature, that's also a great way to ground.
Yeah, the more you don't try to work out what's happening or think about it, the better. Just because right now there's nothing you can really do in this next month, really. So just ride the next month out, and then the plans are going to start being clear. If you need to make plans, or just, it's going to become clear what to do. So hang in there. Try not to force an outcome.
Yeah, just breathe, move towards what feels good or the least challenging.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Madelaine is always amazing. Just so powerful, and so supportive. So thank you so much
for having me. Lots of love.
Of course. All right. Bye, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks for joining. Bye.